Christianity in Blue Jeans, Chapter 2 of the letter of James. My dear brothers and sisters, how can you claim to have faith in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ if you favor some people over others? Favoritism. We might call it prejudice. When we judge a book by the cover instead of getting to the heart of the person, the character of the person. For example, suppose someone comes into your meeting, your church meeting, dressed in fancy clothes and expensive jewelry, and another comes in who is poor and dressed in dirty clothes. If you give special attention and a good seat to the rich person, but you say to the poor one, you can just go over there and sit on the floor. Well, doesn't this add up to discrimination? Doesn't this add up to prejudice? Doesn't this add up to favoritism? It says, doesn't this discrimination show that your judgments are guided by evil motives? If you're judging a book by the cover, or if you're judging a person by their outward appearance, then you're judging with the wrong motives on people around you. You must judge from the heart. You must have discernment rather than judgment. Notice in verse 5, listen to me, dear brothers and sisters. Hasn't God chosen the poor in this world to be rich in faith? Aren't they the ones who will inherit the kingdom he promised to those who love him? But you dishonor the poor because of their favoritism toward the rich, because of their prejudice, because of their discrimination. And he says here, but you dishonor the poor. Isn't it the rich who oppress you and drag you into court? Aren't they the ones who slander Jesus Christ, whose noble name you bear? Yes, indeed, it is good when you obey the royal law as found in the Scriptures. Love your neighbor as yourself. The royal law of the Old and New Testament. The main characteristic of a Christian ought to be love. Supreme sign that you are a Christ follower ought to be that you love God and you love other people. Notice what he says here. But if you favor some people over others, you are committing a sin. You're just not making a mistake. You're sinning. You're treating people with favoritism and discrimination, and you're judging them from the outside. You are guilty of breaking this royal law about loving others. You don't want to be that kind of person that is only surface level kind of Christianity. You want to be that kind of person that loves God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and loving others around you as Jesus taught us to love. Notice what he says here. For the person who keeps all of the laws except one is as guilty as a person who has broken all of God's laws. For the same God who said you must not commit adultery also said you must not murder. So if you murder someone but you do not commit adultery, you have still broken the law. If you love someone, you're not going to steal from them. If you love someone, you're not going to commit adultery against them. If you love someone, you're not going to kill them. You see how the royal law of love, loving your neighbor as yourself, extends into very practical avenues in our Christian journey? So whatever you say or whatever you do, remember that you will be judged by the law that sets you free. There will be no mercy for those who have not shown mercy to others. And certainly we want God to be merciful to us. One of the Beatitudes was, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall be shown mercy." I want mercy, not justice in my life. I want God's grace and His mercy to be poured out on me because there is a lot of stuff that isn't very pretty, and I want His mercy. But if you have been merciful, God will be merciful when He judges you. Mercy always trumps judgment. Mercy always triumphs over judgment. Mercy and love ought to be a characteristic that we want to show in our lives, in our day-to-day relationships. May it be so in your life and my life. Thank you for listening. Christianity in Blue Jeans. May God bless you and keep you.